What we currently see is that under the leadership of Xi Jinping, the People's Republic of China is moving towards a closed-door policy. Only companies that are valuable to the United Front will stay. Basically, companies that haven't left China by now hold value to the United Front of the CCP. And moreover, the CCP will compel those companies to engage in lobbying, espionage activities within their own countries. They'll exploit these companies. This serves as a warning to governments in other countries. Companies still operating in China today have made concessions to the CCP in many aspects, indicating significant risks to national security. Hi everyone, this is Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to today's show. Today let's talk about why the decoupling from China is real and why you shouldn't make any unwise decisions of investing in China right now. After the Chinese Communist Party implemented new amendments to their Anti-Espionage Law this July, the revised regulations mention that sharing information involving national security and national interests could be considered espionage when a person is sharing documents, data, materials, and items. These regulations are overly broad and ambiguous in scope, and coupled with the opaque nature of the Chinese judicial system, they have become the final straw prompting foreign businesses to decide to exit the Chinese market. Of course, I understand that many people still don't believe this, especially those who are reliant on apps like TikTok or who frequently watch Chinese state media. For people who are less concerned about international politics, there remains a significant portion of those who still believe that the Chinese market is the world's mainstream and future. And some individuals even naively think that it is just a simple quarrel between the United States and China. Perhaps after some time they'd reconcile and return to an era of peaceful prosperity. Therefore, every time one mentions the so-called decoupling between the US and China, they maintain a wait-and-see attitude. But if we carefully observe the current situation of foreign companies withdrawing from China, especially those due diligence and risk consulting firms specialized in working with foreign companies, they have indeed begun to gradually exit the Chinese market following the implementation of the new Anti-Espionage Law in July. According to Bloomberg, the US asset management giant Vanguard has been in the final stages of exiting the Chinese market. Additionally, Washington-based consultancy firm Gallup has recently notified its clients of the decision to close its operations in China while advising them to shift some projects to other countries. And for the multinational corporations, the Chinese Communist Party enactment of such extreme anti-espionage law will make it very difficult to conduct due diligence operations and investigations that would instill investment confidence. The already opaque Chinese market lacking data for assessment indicates an increasing investment risk, making it harder for foreign investors to sign contracts with the Chinese suppliers. Other due diligence firms that have exited include the independent tech and market research firm Forrester Research, which has laid off most of its analysts in China, and the online advisory firm Gerson Lehrman Group. This company used to have plans to expand its business in China this year, but in the end cut its Chinese workforce in the summer. This isn't something that's happening just now. In fact, since the beginning of the year, these international level due diligence companies have been facing various disruptions from the Chinese Communist authorities. At the time, the CCP conducted surprise raids on consulting firms operating within China, including Capvision, Bain, and due diligence group Mintz. For instance, in March, 5 Chinese employees were arrested from Mintz's office, leading to the closure of their branch. In April, employees at Bain's office were questioned by the Chinese security officials. The Chinese government further accused Capvision of employing consultants with high salaries illegally to illicitly obtain various sensitive data of China, posing significant risks to their national security. According to the Nikkei Asia report, China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange disclosed international balance figures for the months of July to September, showing foreign direct investment into factory construction and other sectors at minus 11.8 billion. This marks the first time since statistics have been kept starting from 1998 that investment has shown a negative value. So this isn't simply a matter of typical manufacturing industries or foreign companies leaving China today and returning after a while. No, this marks the beginning of the economic decoupling between the United States and China. It's not just the US unilaterally sanctioning the CCP. Rather, the CCP is also proactively disengaging from the US. Take Russia as a comparison. Despite Putin facing a stalemate after Russia's aggression in Ukraine, he still doesn't prioritize the domestic economy. Based on our understanding of past communist-led economic models, China's future economic system will undergo significant changes. Xi Jinping's ideology necessitates the gradual disappearance of the market economy. Therefore, there won't be a benchmark for a market economy in China in the future. The majority of foreign capital withdrawal aligns with the desired outcome, aiming to prevent those within China from having any contact with the perceived evils of Western capitalism. For those who have studied Xi Jinping's early views on China's reform and opening up, his current actions and ideas shouldn't be too unfamiliar or surprising. Xi Jinping indeed holds such an ideological standpoint. So Xi Jinping's intensified scrutiny over state-owned enterprises isn't solely aimed at resolving financial issues. We need to look at it from the perspective of the Communist Party. During the Cold War era, those behind the Iron Curtain were not allowed to interact with the outside world or engage in business. Qualification and right to conduct business was typically limited to government or state-owned enterprises. And this basically aligns entirely with the CCP's continuous efforts to strengthen supervision over large domestic enterprises. The real estate bubble in China has also led to the bankruptcy of previously disobedient real estate companies. These bankruptcies serve as a reason to internally restructurize these companies, making new personnel arrangements. At the same time, in order to retain the party's external influence, China might not revert entirely to a planned economy. Instead, the companies wishing to operate in China must comply with the directives of the CCP. This aspect somewhat resembles the economic situation in Nazi Germany, a topic I have previously discussed on my channel. For instance, Capvision, a US consultancy firm subjected to a sudden surge, issued a statement on October 3rd via WeChat, stating that following guidance from relevant Chinese government departments, it had passed a national security compliance rectification assessment. Over these past months, under the guidance of the relevant government departments, our firm has earnestly reflected, identified holes and made up for shortcomings, building up a more systematic and complete compliance system. Frank Tianxie, a lecturer at the Moore School of Business at the University of South Carolina, commented on that. These foreign companies are becoming more and more like Chinese companies. Capvision has historically capitalized on the lack of transparency of the Chinese market by providing various investigation services for profit. However, their future credibility as an investigative firm may be compromised due to their choice to follow the instructions of the CCP's regime, potentially undermining their impartiality. So when we watch the political commentary programs and hear about the anxiety within the CCP's regime, seeming to lack funds and urgently needing the return of foreign investments, there is a significant contradiction in their simultaneous efforts to intensify control and supervision over both state-owned enterprises and private businesses. In reality, this is the direction Xi Jinping desires. From the perspective of the CCP, it's not surprising. Presently, countries like China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, among others, control vast territories and large populations. On the other hand, they are attempting to circumvent the dollar-based international trade system. For instance, due to sanctions following its invasion in Ukraine, Russia has now fully embraced the use of China's UnionPay system. This move effectively signifies China's assistance to Russia in avoiding sanctions. Moreover, China's previous deployment of the Belt and Road Initiative in Africa and Southeast Asia still holds significant influence and pressure, causing considerable concern for the European and North American countries. Meanwhile, the Middle Eastern states may not necessarily express a willingness to confront the newly formed League of Dictators, and the situation in the Middle East has also been continually becoming more complex recently. The risks of doing business with countries cracking down on freedoms and challenging their rules-based order are obvious. Ultimately, the only one benefiting in such a business would be the Communist Party or any other dictatorial regime. So I want to emphasize again to foreign investors and Taiwanese businesses that they need to swiftly escape from China, an extremely non-transparent and high-risk market. And for those who haven't invested yet, please do not make a stupid mistake by going there. What we currently see is that under the leadership of Xi Jinping, the People's Republic of China is moving towards a closed-door policy. Only companies that are valuable to the United Front will stay. Basically, companies that haven't left China by now hold value to the United Front of the CCP. And moreover, the CCP will compel those companies to engage in lobbying, espionage activities within their own countries. They'll exploit these companies. This serves as a warning to governments in other countries. Companies still operating in China today have made concessions to the CCP in many aspects, indicating significant risks to national security. Hence, in the future, trust in companies that have invested in or collaborated with the CCP from democratic countries will continue to diminish. Ultimately, the democratic nations will have to make a choice if they can tolerate such businesses gathering intelligence and working for the enemy state. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please press like, subscribe and share. This is Stan. I see you in the next one. Bye bye!